Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing another collab with Andi from Andi Does Stuff. Of course, I'll have her channel and her video linked in my description box. Andi is one of the most beautiful and the sexiest women I have ever seen in my entire life, and she's an amazing creator here on this platform, and she's one of my dearest friends. And anytime we can collab together, I am over the moon about it. Now, she and I have done several really fun collabs. We did a Let's Go to the Movies collab. We did like an 80s themed collab, a 90s themed collab. And then our most recent collab, we did an 80s pop culture. And everyone really enjoyed our collabs so far, I feel like. You know, we get a lot of really positive feedback in the comment section of our collab videos. So we thought, let's keep this going. So today we're going to be talking about 90s pop culture. Andi and I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and we love those eras, 80s and 90s. So it's always really fun to do these collabs with Andi, kind of take a trip down memory lane and talk about the things that influenced us, or that we were into, or that we loved, or we were interested in, or whatever, in the 80s and the 90s. So I have a bunch of questions I'm going to be answering while I put my eye look together. And I went online and looked up some 90s inspired eye looks, and a lot of them were kind of more goth in appearance, which I love that. And they also had a lot of like kohl eyeliner that was kind of blown up around the eye. I don't really have any black kohl eyeliner. And I started thinking about what I did in the 90s. And I was obsessed with a little Covergirl trio, the Shimmering Sands eyeshadow trio. And so I thought, you know what, I might try to recreate a look that I would have put together back in the 90s, but I don't have the Covergirl Shimmering Sands trio anymore. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna use my Stone Cold Fox palette from Colourpop. This is my favorite neutral palette, and it has all the colors I could possibly think of for the Shimmering Sands Covergirl trio and then some. So I think what I'm gonna do is focus on, obviously, the browns, I mean, of course, and then pick like a kind of a peachy shimmer shade. Maybe this one right here, I'm not sure. But I thought maybe I would, you know, jazz it up a little bit, you know, kind of bring the 90s look into the 2023s. And maybe just, I don't know, add a deepening shade or something. I don't know, we'll see as we go. But I'm really excited to use this palette again. It's one of my favorites. And create a 90s inspired look and then answer these questions. So let's get going. I do have my brows done and both eyelids are primed in the P. Louise eyeshadow base in Rumor 01. So I came up with some groupings of questions. I think there's 45 questions in total here. I'm gonna try to buzz through these quickly so we're not here for 5 days. But the first group of questions is, what are your memories and or thoughts of the following 90s fashion trends? Okay, and I'm gonna go into this palette now. And I think what I'm gonna do is start off with this shade right here. And this one is called Sediment to Be. I think, is that right? Yeah, Sediment to Be. That's close to the brown or brown matte shade, I would say, in the Shimmering Sands trio. That's what I remember anyway. Could be totally off hue, but whatever. So the first fashion trend is bomber jacket. And I never had a bomber jacket, but those were so popular in the 90s, like when I was in college. So many guys and girls wore bomber jackets. My roommate actually had a bomber jacket and I loved it. They were just like these really cool, kind of older looking leather jackets that had like patches all over them. I think some of them had like military patches. But my favorite bomber jacket that I can remember, vividly remember, are the ones that, or the one that George Michael wore in his videos. I think it was in what, Faith? And I want to say Freedom 90, but he really wasn't in that video a whole lot because they were models in that video. But I loved his bomber jacket. I thought George Michael was so freaking hot in the 90s. I was so into George Michael. I was like, oh, hey, baby. So I never had one. I always wanted one. I remember seeing not very long ago a very large bomber jacket at like a thrift store, and I should have picked that up. It was way too big for me, but gosh, I wish I grabbed that because they're just really fun. They're really cool jackets. The next one is slip dresses. I never wore slip dresses. Those were pretty popular, but I would say they were maybe more popular with ladies that were younger than I was at the time when those came out. Because in the 90s, it was like the waif models were really popular, like just being stick skinny. I've never been stick skinny ever. And I don't know, I just wasn't ever really into the slip dresses because I just felt like I wasn't really built for them necessarily. But I do remember seeing girls younger than me at the time when those were popular wearing those a lot. Number 3 is blazers. And I did have several blazers. I had a black one, a brown one, a burgundy one, a navy blue one. And basically they were just like suit jackets for women, you know. And the cool thing about having a blazer is that you could jazz up a more casual outfit, you know, like you could wear jeans and a t-shirt and then put a blazer on and you look super cute. And I've actually seen a lot of women wearing blazers again. And I actually just got rid of a blazer not very long ago because it was way too small for me and covered in dust and gross. It was in my coat closet that I'd had, I think, since I was in college. But yeah, those were really fun to have. Really, really fun. I really enjoyed blazers. Number 4, stirrup pants. I had tons of pairs of stirrup pants, and those were leggings that had these little stirrup things around the bottom that like kind of fit underneath your heel. And then obviously you'd put your foot in your shoe. And they were really cute, but I did have a couple pairs of stirrup pants that like would balloon out around the calves. They just look awful. So if that was the case, I would take like a big pair of like large bunchy socks and put them on and kind of bunch the socks down around my calves so that my pants didn't look like they were ballooning out around my ankles. Oh boy. And I remember one time I was wearing a pair of stirrup pants and I was walking to class in college and the stirrup snapped and like I just, it was not cute. So I had to like tie the stirrup back together under my foot and kind of like limp back to my dorm room after class. Number 5 are flannel shirts. Loved flannel shirts. I still wear flannel shirts, but when grunge came around, the grunge music trend, they were all wearing flannel shirts. So then we all started wearing flannel shirts. I still love them. And I have a couple of my sons actually that I like to wear. So I do want to deepen that up, although there wasn't really necessarily a deeper brown shade in the Covergirl Shimmering Sands, but this is just inspired by that trio, okay? So I think what I'll do is go to this one right here, and this one is called Fickle Fate, and let me grab a brush for that. The next one is overalls, and I did have overalls. I had shorts overalls, and usually what I would do is I would unbuckle one of the straps and let it like hang down. Oh boy, I thought it was so cool. And yeah, I would wear those quite often in the summertime. I loved my overalls. And I'd wear them a lot over my swimsuits. Like, if we'd go down to the lake to go swimming or something, I would always wear my overalls over my swimsuit. The next one is crop tops. I did wear crop tops, those kind of short midriff showing shirts. I did wear crop tops on occasion, but not a lot. I was more into the baggy t-shirts, like the oversized baggy t-shirts. I still am. That's kind of always been my thing. Number 8, tie-dye shirts. Oh yeah. I mean, where I live, tie-dye is super popular, still even. And I would make tie-dye t-shirts. And then also we have what's called the Saturday Market downtown in the town that I live in. And that was the place to go on the weekends when I was like in high school into college, more so into college. And there would be tons of little booths selling tie-dye t-shirts. And I had the cutest tie-dye shirt. It had a heart on the front, tie-dye heart, and then a tie-dye snowflake on the back. I love that shirt. I wore that thing until it literally fell apart. Number 9, track suits. Oh yeah. Like the Nike track suits, like what were they, nylon? I don't know. They were like that. I don't know. You could break dance in them. I remember we would get cardboard out and put it down on the floor, and I'd get my Nike tracksuit on and try to do back spins in the living room of my apartment in college. I mean, I could never really get it down, but oh boy. So yeah, I had a Nike tracksuit. I had a couple Nike tracksuits, and then I had an Adidas one. It was black and white that I would wear thinking I was super awesome. And I do actually have a couple tracksuits, but they're cotton. They're not the nylon-y, slippery kind. I don't know. I can't remember what the name of that material is. Number 10, hammer pants. I did have a pair of hammer pants. I think I had a couple pairs of hammer pants. Just these big balloony pants that MC Hammer used to wear in his videos, and that became a huge trend, and everybody would wear those. I remember my boyfriend had a pair of hammer pants. All my friends did. Like, it was really cool. We thought we were really cool. Mine were orange, black, and purple, like splotches. Great. The next one is hair scrunchies or banana clips. I have a hair scrunchie in today. I love my hair scrunchies. I still do. Love them. Banana clips, I would say I wore banana clips more in the 80s, but I had like smaller clips that I would wear in my hair in the 90s. That some of them like looked like butterflies and stuff like that. I would do that. But I have really thin, fine hair. So banana clips didn't always work for me. They'd kind of just slide right out of the back of my hair. Let's see, jeans jacket. Yes, I did have a jeans jacket. I had a couple jeans jackets and I loved them. The one I always wanted, and I remember my boyfriend in college had one, was the Levi jacket that had like the wool on the inside. Oh, I love those jackets. And I just saw one of those at a thrift store not very long ago too, and I should have picked it up, damn it. But those were great. I loved my jeans jackets, so fun. And I put like pins all over my jeans jackets. I thought it was really cool. I'm gonna go back into this brush and just kind of blend that shade out a little bit. Let's see, acid wash jeans. Oh yeah, had myself some acid wash jeans, thought I was really cool. The one pair of acid wash jeans that I loved, and I had a jeans jacket that went with this, was peach and black mixed together acid wash material. Oh, I thought it was so cool. And I had these black boots that kind of like folded down on the top, and just thought, yeah, watch out world, here I come. Doc Marten boots. Oh yeah, I had Doc Martens in college. I thought those were so cool. I remember my mom like totally freaked out because she's like, skinheads wear those, you can't wear those. But you know, I don't know. I mean, obviously I've never been a skinhead, nor would I ever be. But those were just a really fun fashion trend that we started wearing. And it was more like, how we felt about it, and the stuff that I remember like looking into about it to kind of like prove my mom wrong, is that they were more like working class boots too. And that's kind of what I felt was cool, was, you know, I guess looking like I worked hard wearing Doc Marten boots. But unfortunately, you know, there were skinheads that wore Doc Martens, which, ugh. The last one here is choker necklace. I never wore chokers. I had a lot of friends that would wear choker necklaces, but I just have never really liked anything tight around my neck, so that was not for me. So now let's go into a shimmer, and I think I'm going to go into, do I want mystery or so fine? I think so fine. I feel like that's closer to the shimmer shade that was in the Shimmering Sands trio. This is more pink, that one was more peach, but whatever. The next group of question is, did you use or own the following 90s items? Number one, music, cassette tapes, and or CDs. Oh yeah, tons of tapes, tons of CDs. And what was really fun in the 90s was we would make mixtapes for ourselves, for our friends, boyfriends, whatever. I would make like love songs, mixed tapes for my boyfriend. I mean, he'd make them for me. So dumb. But I had a cousin that lived in Alaska, and he and I got into a habit of making each other mixtapes and sending those to each other, which was really fun because like I would send him music that like my friends and I were listening to in college where we lived, and then he would send me music that he and his friends and stuff were listening to in Alaska. So that was really cool. And I would also tape music off the radio often, which was kind of a pain because the radio announcer people would talk through the entire intro of the song and then finally stop talking when the person would start singing. But I really wanted the intro to the song. Oh, I get so irritated. I remember standing there staring at my stereo going, shut up, would you just shut up? So funny. And of course I had a ton of CDs, and in the 2000s I ended up getting like a CD burner and I would make mixed CDs, but we're talking about the 90s. Alarm clock. Yes, I had an alarm clock and I hated that damn thing. I hate alarm clocks. That it's almost like traumatizing to wake up to an alarm clock. I wake up to my phone now and it's got like nice music on it. Although not too nice, because if it's too nice, I'll just sleep right through it. But my husband's phone went to crap. Let's see, when was this? A couple weeks ago, week and a half ago. And we didn't have anything for him to wake up to. And I mean, I have an alarm clock on my phone, but he gets up quite a bit earlier than I do. And we thought we had an alarm clock stuck somewhere, but we couldn't find it. So I raced down to Walmart, and as I'm on my way to Walmart, he finds the alarm clock in a drawer in our bedroom. I was like, oh, but I mean, he couldn't call me to tell me, so whatever. But yeah, I had an alarm clock. I just couldn't stand it. Mine has the red glowing numbers on it and sounds like an absolute nightmare from hell when it goes off. VCR and video cassettes. Oh yeah, I loved my VCR. I think we got that in the 80s actually. And I remember I would tape movies that were on like regular TV and keep those and watch those too. Or like movies that were on like HBO or whatever. But oh yeah, we had a VCR in college, and we had like a whole bookshelf full of mine and my roommates' VCR or video cassette movies. And I mean, it was wonderful. I loved VCRs, although they broke frequently. And I can remember when my children were younger, both of them put their hands in the VCR and got their hands all munched. I was like, what are you two doing? Anyway, the next one is rollerblades. And I did not have rollerblades, but my roommate did. And she would let me wear hers or use hers a lot because, I don't know, she was just really nice and kind. She had a couple pairs of rollerblades and we had the same size feet. But I loved to rollerblade. That was such a great way to exercise. I would prefer to roller skate though. I was the roller skating queen in the 80s. Wallpaper. I'm gonna actually deepen this up a little bit. I think I'll go into this one right here. I was gonna use black, but I don't really want to use black. Black was not an eyeshadow color. I don't think I really used a whole lot in the 90s. Although that was kind of a emo gothy time. This is called Drama Wama. I don't know, but I'm gonna be putting that in my outer V now. Again, cheating on this eye look, whatever. Wallpaper was super duper popular in the 90s, so popular. And I can remember, do we have wallpaper in my house? I don't think we did growing up, or I guess when I was in the 90s, I was in college, and I don't remember us having wallpaper, but my aunt and uncle did. And I remember going over there to help them hang wallpaper one day. And, you know, it would come in these sheets and you'd have, you know, hang one on the wall. You have to, you know, painstakingly get it even, get it to match the, you know, like seam from the ceiling into the wall. And then you'd get it all on and get it all pressed down and, you know, smooth all the bubbles out, which was a total nightmare. And then you'd go to hang the next sheet next to it, and you were supposed to like line it up perfectly with the sheet next to it, you know? And my uncle absolutely screwed up, and none of the sheets were even with each other. They weren't lined up right, and my aunt was so pissed. She just, I guess, thought he'd done a good job initially. I don't know, but yeah, he totally screwed that up. And taking wallpaper off was a nightmare, you know. I can't remember what you'd use, but like you have to like scrape it off the wall, and it was just a nightmare. Horrible. And I do remember in the 90s, the wallpaper border, like halfway across the wall, like, or halfway up the wall, was really popular. And we actually did that with contact paper, not wallpaper, but contact paper in my apartment in college. Contact paper was really fun too. It was like the easier version of wallpaper. The next one is lava lamp. And I did not have a lava lamp. My roommate did. And they were just those little lamps that were kind of like cone shaped and had the like bubbles that would float around, and it was kind of like glowing. It wasn't really like meant to like light up the room. It was just meant to look cool. And I loved her lava lamp. I always wanted one, but I just never got myself one for some reason. The next one, fanny pack. Oh yeah, had a fanny pack. Love my fanny pack. I know that those of you that live in the UK think that is the most hilarious term in the world, because fanny means something different to you folks than it does to us here in the United States. But I just actually got myself another fanny pack when my husband and I went to Bend. I still haven't used the damn thing, but it's really cute. It's like a Columbia sportswear one, and it's like peach. It's cute. But yeah, I used to wear, I had a, what was it? Was it Bole? I think B-O-L-E with the accent over the E. Little fanny pack. I love that. It was like blue and green and purple. Nintendo Game Boy. I did not have a Nintendo Game Boy, but I had friends that had one, and so I'd play Tetris all the time when I was around them. I don't know. I grew up not being able to have game systems, and so even when I was able to like maybe buy one on my own, I just never did, because I don't know. I just didn't. I would just use my friends. But Nintendo Game Boys were amazing. So fun. I mean, now we all have our phones and we can play games on them whenever we want. But it was fun. It was really cool to have those. And I'm going to go back in with this brush and just kind of blend that out a little bit. The next one is Pogs. And I didn't have Pogs, but kids that I babysat had Pogs. And they were these brown cardboard little disc things, and you'd play some kind of game with your Pogs. I never could really understand what they were doing with them. And there would be this round, thick plastic Pog flipper, I think it was called. And the kids I babysat would play with their Pogs all the time, and they had a million of them. They were all over the place. It's kind of obnoxious, honestly. The next one is brown lipstick. Oh, yes, love my brown lipstick, and I'm actually going to be wearing a dark brown lipstick today. Woohoo! Cannot wait for that. But yeah, I had a few tubes of brown lipstick. I don't remember the brand. It had to have been drugstore because I never really got any other kind of makeup but drugstore back in the 90s. That was it. So now doing the lower lash line, I did pop my concealer on down here. And I'm going to start off with my lower waterlines, and I'm going to be using this. This is the NYX Professional Makeup Jumbo Eye Pencil in Sparkle Nude. I love this, and it looks really pretty in the lower waterlines. Let's see. The next one is Beanie Babies. I didn't have Beanie Babies, but I had like little cousins that had Beanie Babies and kids I babysat that had them, and I know how popular they were. I remember we just watched a documentary, my husband and I did, I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, and they were talking about toy trends of the 80s and 90s, and they were showing these women like attacking each other in like a Hallmark store over Beanie Babies. I was like, holy cow. So, I mean, I think I was kind of too old for the Beanie Babies. I mean, I still have stuffed animals, okay? So I don't think there's any age that you should stop getting or having stuffed animals. But I don't know. I just never really got into them. I thought they were really cute and stuff. And I'd love to look at them when I would babysit kids and like see my little cousins and stuff. I was like, oh, let me look at your Beanie Babies. They were adorable, but I never really had any of my own, I don't think. So I think what I'll do is start off with, let's go into Sediment to Be first across the lower lash line. Let's see, Lisa Frank Stationery. Oh yeah, I had Lisa Frank Stationery. I was super into that. And I remember when my daughter was young, like that kind of like resurfaced again. And I would get her tons of Lisa Frank Stationery stuff. So cute, because it was just cute. You know, I had all kinds of different vibrant colors and like panda bears and unicorns and bunnies and I think. But yeah, oh yeah, loved the Lisa Frank Stationery stuff. And I know that, I think it was Morphe, right? Came out with the Lisa Frank palette, so a while back. Furby. I never had a Furby, but I knew people that did, you know, friends of mine or, you know, kids that were in my life. I did know that they had Furbies. And then my niece and nephew on my husband's side, they got Furbies for Christmas a couple years back. And I was like, Furbies are still a thing. I just thought they were weird. They're like little, they almost look like little bird hamster combos. What are they even? I don't know. And they talk and they go to sleep, and you feed them and stuff too, or pretend like you're feeding them? I don't know. I just thought they were weird. I was just kind of too old to get into Furbies when they first came out. You know, I was just kind of like, this is too weird for me. Let's see, Nokia cell phone. Yes, I did have a Nokia cell phone, and it looked like a brick. It was huge. Like when cell phones first came out, they were huge. They almost looked like they were in a shoebox, and the phone was huge. And anytime you used your cell phone, it would cost you $1 bajillion. I remember one time I had gone to visit my kids' dad when we were dating, because we didn't live in the same city when we first met. And I decided, and my dad loaned me his cell phone, like his Nokia cell phone, just in case there was an emergency, just for an emergency. And I decided to call my best friend and chat with her the whole drive from where I lived to go see my kids' dad when we were first dating. Yeah, my dad was so pissed. I mean, it was like a $300 phone bill. Ridiculous. I just wasn't thinking. It was an emergency. And then the last one is boombox. Oh yeah, I had a boombox. It was awesome. I ended up kind of destroying it because I would like drop it, or be sitting up on something and the vibration of the music, because I'd have it cranked so loud it would fall off, and the handle broke, and like one of the tape little thingy majigs that you put the tape in and shut it broke off, and I don't know. This sucker didn't make it. But it was always really fun to like go outside and shoot baskets with your boombox. That's what I would do most often. So now I'm going to go into the shade Drama Mama, that is what it says, and put that towards the outer part of the lower lash line. So the last group of questions here, I'm going to try to go through these quickly because I'm almost done with my eye look here. What were your faves from the 90s? Number one TV show, Friends. Friends and Beverly Hills 90210. When I was in college, I graduated from college in 96. My friends, or like my neighbors, would come over on Thursday nights, because that's when those shows were on, and we would have a total Friends, Beverly Hills 90210, and then ER, that was another great show, Whole night of it. You know, we'd make popcorn, we'd have ice cream, and we would just get in our jammies and our sleeping bags or blankies, and we would watch those shows together. And I loved them. Hairstyle. Well, I had spiral perms. God, it's a miracle that I have anything on my head anymore. I used to perm my hair to the point of just ridiculousness back in the 90s. And spiral perms were like really popular. And then you'd like use a hair diffuser on your hair dryer to be all woo. And, you know, it looked okay. Not anywhere near as gorgeous and sexy and voluminous and wonderful as Andi's curly hair. But that's what I was going for. I don't think I ever got there. Outdoor activity. We would play Frisbee golf a lot. That was fun. We did that in the 90s, like towards the late 90s, I would say. Rollerblading was another thing that we would do outdoors. I remember playing badminton in the 90s in college outside. That was really fun. Favorite alcoholic beverage was Zima, that clear alcohol beer, whatever the heck it was. Oh yeah, I would drink Zima all the time. Zima and wine coolers, but I remember going to several parties and drinking way too many Zimas. That stuff, it was like, was it lemony flavored kind of? I don't know. It was weird stuff, but yeah, all of us girls would drink Zima. Perfume. I loved the Sunflowers perfume in the 90s. That was my favorite. And Liz Claiborne. Those were my two favorite scents of perfume. The Sunflowers and Liz Claiborne. And I loved the bottle that they came in. Both of those perfumes came in. They were really pretty bottles. Lotion scent was the Cucumber Melon from, was it Cucumber Melon or just Cucumber from Victoria's Secret? I think it was Cucumber Melon. I loved that. God, that was such a great lotion. So nice. And you know what I might do actually too, because I don't remember using a whole lot of eyeliner when I was younger. I think I'm going to pop this on my upper lid too. I was going to grab one of my, like, I don't know, retractable eyeliners, but I just don't really want to do that today. I just want to use this. So let's go to the next one. Movie and movie star in the 90s. In the 90s, oh geez. I would say Thelma and Louise. That was probably my favorite movie in the 90s. I can remember going and seeing that with a really good friend from high school. And we just loved that movie. But at the end of the movie, we were both just like, did that just happen? I mean, we couldn't believe the ending. And I would have to say Brad Pitt. Loved Brad Pitt in the 90s. Oh my gosh. I remember Legends of the Fall too. That was another really good movie that he was in. And I used to have posters of Brad Pitt all over the place. All over the place. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks good. I'm glad that I didn't go grab an eyeliner. I don't know. It just seems a little easier. And I do remember using eyeshadow most often as eyeliner in the 90s. Let's see. Candy. Lemon heads were like my candy of choice in the 90s. They kind of still are. And also hot tamales. Oh, I loved hot tamales. I still do. Have you guys ever tried putting hot tamales in popcorn? I know that sounds really weird. Or milk duds. They're both excellent. Try those if you haven't done that yet. Store at the mall in the 90s was probably either The Closet or Mariposa. Those were the two that I really loved the most. And I can remember when The Closet closed down and I was like, also The Gap. I was really into The Gap too, but there was a lot of stuff in The Gap I couldn't wear because it just didn't fit me. It was for people that were way smaller than I was. Let's see. Place to go on a date and what would you typically wear? Let's see. I would typically on a date go to Red Robin. I remember that being a pretty popular date place when I was in college, like in the 90s. And then I would typically wear just jeans. And also what was really popular were those like bodysuit shirts. You know, they were like short sleeved, but they were like onesies. They'd snap in the crotch. I loved those. And I had some really cute ones. I had a red one with like white daisies I would wear all the time. That was cute. So that was typically my look, was jeans and like a cute top and a flannel shirt. Flannel shirts too. Jewelry. My favorite jewelry in the 90s. My favorite jewelry in the 90s was my mom's old jewelry when she was like in like from the 70s and 60s. She had some really fun kind of funky jewelry and she gave me her old jewelry box with all of that stuff in it. My daughter has it now. I gave it to my daughter. But yeah, I would wear my mom's jewelry a lot. I've never been a really huge jewelry wearer just because I have lost really nice jewelry, like, and sentimental jewelry. I don't even want to talk about it. So I don't really wear a lot of jewelry anymore because I just am totally paranoid. But I do remember vividly wearing a lot of my mom's old jewelry in the 90s. We just have a few more here. Makeup brand. I mean, did I have a favorite makeup brand in the 90s? I don't think I did. I mean, I just liked drugstore makeup. Covergirl, I guess. I don't know. The next one is shoes. And my favorite shoes were my penny loafers. I wore my penny loafers until they fell apart. I had like a burgundy pair and a black pair. And I would wear those with my stirrup pants. I had the cutest outfit. They were forest green stirrup pants and then a forest green burgundy, gold, and navy blue blazer that I'd wear over the top of this like gold kind of silky shirt. And then my penny loafers. And I can remember it was so fun, like when the penny would get all disgusting and you'd replace the penny with a new one. We got two more here. Music video. I would say Freedom 90, the George Michael video. I just love that video. I thought that was so cool. There's all these models like lip syncing his song, and it's pretty kind of steamy, kind of sexy. Not too bad, but just, you know, hot people in a video. That was a nice video. And then soap opera is the last one here. That would have to be Days of Our Lives. I loved Days of Our Lives. Hope and Bo and Roman and Marlena and Sammy and Carrie and Victor Kiriakis, who is actually Jennifer Aniston's dad in real life. I just found that out not very long ago. Like, where the hell was I? But I loved Days of Our Lives. That was such a great soap opera. So I'm done with my look. I'm going to go off camera, do the rest of my face, my hair and stuff, and I'll be back. This is the finished look, and I love how this look turned out. It's a lot more detailed than what I would have done back in the 90s. I know that because the Shimmering Sands trio only had 3 shades, and I used more than 3 shades today. But love the Stone Cold Fox palette. I think out of all the neutral palettes I have, I felt like this one would match the tones that were in the Shimmering Sands trio the best. But man, I love this palette. It's such a beautiful neutral color story. So many different options in here. The shades worked really, really well. I did pop this shade So Fine in my inner corners today too. Beautiful palette. Really happy that I got to use it again today. Let's see, for my lipstick, I do have the MAC Bullet Lipstick in Move Your Body. I wanted a traditional 90s dark brown lip shade, and this absolutely fits the bill for that. I love how it feels. It's very emollient, really nice. It's not going to last well throughout the day because it's a pretty creamy lipstick, and you know, I'm going to drink some coffee and eat some food at some point. It's going to come off, but I love this. I love it. I got it in a BoxyCharm, and it just really reminds me of the lipsticks I used back in the 90s. And I had a ton of brown lipsticks, and I'm pretty sure they were all drugstore. I do remember one of my roommates giving me a fancier brown lipstick at one point, and I used it all the way down to nothing. And then let's see, let me tell you a couple things I used too. I used the IBY blush. This is in Sunkissed. I got this in an ice cream beauty box. I just wanted a pink blush because that's primarily what I would use back in the 90s, is this color pink on my cheeks. And then for my highlighter, which I don't know that I used highlighter in the 90s, this is the Hendayan Diamond highlighting powder that I got from Temu, and just love it. I think it's a pretty shade. For my foundation, I did a couple of different things here, or used a couple of different things. I used my Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation in 035 Natural Beige, but because it's a little too dark, I used this with it. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus in Nude Ivory, so these together, and it worked fine. It's always so much fun to do these collabs with Andi. I love it. It's just a blast. Any kind of collab with Andi is really fun, but these have been a blast, the 80s and 90s pop culture and music and movies and all that kind of stuff, because we both love the 80s and 90s, and we have so many similar answers and similar experiences. It's really cool. And I mean it. If you guys have a channel and you'd like to do this, please do it. I'm going to have all the questions listed in my description box. Make sure you tag Andi and I so we can watch and listen to your answers. If you don't have a channel and you want to answer these, do it in the comment section. I would love that. And if you guys are interested for us to keep these things going, let us know. I'll try to come up with some more questions for us to answer. I cannot wait to watch Andi's video, see her look come together, and listen to her answers. I love it how similar our answers typically are when we do these types of collabs together. Every so often we'll have differences, but it's really cool to see how similar we are. I love Andi so much. I just wish we lived closer to each other. We would be hanging out and raising hell all the time. I know we would. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash that like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.